days fell away with nothing to show, and the walls kept tumbling down in the city that we love. Great clouds all over the hills, bringing darkness from above. But if you close
Hello and welcome with us here on the VanirQuick channel for the official VanirQuick stream of our game today against Team Peps. Really interesting opponent, obviously having come down as one of those partnered teams. Not something that we expected going into stage 2, but going to be a real challenge today. And Crab, you're joining me looking at these two teams. Should be a pretty spicy matchup.
Yeah, of course, you're always expecting some good things from Team Peps. They are an OWCS partnered team, so not new to this. They've got players who've been playing for quite a long time. Some new talent, some old talent. Should be exciting to watch regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pep's coming in as well. They've got a chip on their shoulder into this entire stage. They've been the laughing stock of pretty much everyone looking over OWCS, at least from stage 1, having been the only partnered team to be relegated in that first stage, trying to get back up there now. Obviously, a couple of new faces, and one of those players that was taken away to bring in those new faces was Zorro, who obviously is now starting for VanirQuick.
Yeah, a very interesting change. We should see maybe a bit of rivalry coming in. Zora, of course, has got a lot to prove here. Um, his team, they've kind of said goodbye, made some space for someone else, but he's certainly here to prove himself, to prove that Pep's probably made the wrong decision in dropping him.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do coming into this. You want to be the one that's proven to be right in this situation. Casban initially on Oasis for Team Peps. Jetpack Cat being taken out by VQ, not wanting to face that Jetpack Cat Bastion early on in this one. And not too much of a surprise. Obviously, it's been around for quite a while. We're seeing it phase out a little bit with this Sigmitsuki comp coming into more of a meta situation with the amount of CC and pressure that you can put on the other team. But as we look at the two teams, it is going to be that more standard composition for VQ, but Team Peps rolling out on the Malga.
Yeah, what is interesting to note is that Peps had the first ban. So they banned that Cassidy first. They wanted nothing to do with it, and left kind of that Jetpack Cat ban open, showing that they're confident on that mirror.
Yeah, absolutely. Charge in initially for Willis into the back climb, but doesn't find a kill so far. TP out from Tomix is trying to get away from the overwhelming pressure of Willis. Kale going down first, though, and it's a bloodbath in these corridors as Team Peps sweeping up. Apan able to get the tank diff and trying to fight through this one. Finds 3, but it's not quite going to be enough. Elias trying to get back in, but unfortunately, that's all said and done for the first fight.
Yeah, you can really see the difference Central Apan made there with, look at that Sigma ult charge. He died and the point's only at 10% and he's already over halfway to his ult.
Trying to get back in here now. Zodial just zoning out the opposing team, making sure that VQ don't have a quick way in here, rotating around behind as well with that motorbike. But Willis has to be careful here. Use the extension in, trying to get back out now, and has been able to survive. Good pocket from the supports, and you can see now Apan just trying to get a lot of eat in there. Zodial taking down Elias, and it's a slow burn once again. Zodial finding 3 on the fight. Could be a 4th here as well. Zodial absolutely cleaning up at the moment.
Yeah, Kale just dropped so early. That sustain that you get from the Mizuki is just gone. And I mean, Zodial can just kind of take his pickings however he likes them and just slowly, one by one, tear through the whole of VanirQuick.
Another stage and engagement here, but Zerion has that Kitsune rush. Here comes that Gravitic Flux that was built up early for Apan, but it just leaves you a sitting duck, not being able to block any of the damage coming in. The amount of damage that's able to be displayed by this Team Peps roster is annihilating. Willis has gone down in the backline, and Elias is going to try and do something here, but there comes a vehicular manslaughter of that motorbike sweeping through. They do have the Kitsune rush for this next turn, but it needs to be big here.
Yeah, that pick onto the Malga really works in the favor of VanirQuick. Team Peps really have to slow down. They lose all that momentum they have there, and it means they can just reset for a fight on point.
Spree invested early from Zoro, trying to find one, but the Ray's going to keep the rest of Team Peps alive. Zerion with that self-Suzu as well, and Zodiel on the other side has been able to do much more with the Spree. Finds one onto Tomex, both of the supports are down, and that means that you can't use that Kitsune rush that they found, and immediately it looks like Team Peps looking to steamroll VanirQuick as much as possible. 100-0 on that first checkpoint, and I mean, VQ, they have to dig their feet in here and try and find something on this second objective.
Yeah, I think it's really rare you see a fight where you have the K-Rush not go your way. And Team Peps, they were able to invest the Spree and the Juno Ray just to kind of burst through that rush. So VanirQuick didn't even have a chance to really use it properly and get as much value as they needed to win the fight.
Yeah, and the Juno, not quite a conventional pick at the moment. Obviously, Lucio's still there and thereabouts. That Mitsuki coming in as that main support option that's been the mainstay in this meta so far. So a little bit of a surprise to see FD God on it, but Rav gonna switch over. Is going to be trying to chunk down this team on the Reaper. High ground already attained by Willis, looking down onto the objective as Apan just tries to make sure there's not too much damage coming through. Pocket in here from FD God is just going to make sure that Willis has the survivability here, and that is something that the Juno will bring to you. Rest of the team has rotated through, and it's a bit of a mouse chase at the moment. Willis looking to apply the pressure now. Dive onto the backline, but it's not going to find anything so far, and Exodial has gone down to Apan. FD got the next one in the sights. Down low on the Juno. Survives for now, but not for long. Zora is able to take him down. Willis able to get a trade onto Kale, who's having a rough time at the moment on Mitsuki, but if the rest of the team can find the trades out here, it's a good situation to be in. Elias and Zeron shake hands. They go down 1-1, and Willis, you're only serving to stagger yourself as the point has already flipped in VanirQuick's favor.
Yeah, that's a really nice fight from VanirQuick. I think in the longer fight, as long as the Mizuki can stay alive, he's going to get so much more value than Juno. If the Juno speed ring can kind of get that first pick on the Malga charge, able to speed onto the backline, Peps should be able to just win that fight. But as long as Mizuki can live that first engage, it should be all in favor of VanirQuick.
Here we see Peps faced with a situation they haven't seen so far in this matchup, having to go into the objective and not be in control, but Kale just gets run through. Willis steamrolling past, and Zodiel finds the final blow. Kitsune Rush out, and Zora's able to trade it out. Zodiel now gone, and that Kitsune Rush is up the tempo here for VQ. They want to try and find something else here off the back of it, but they find nothing, and now that slam in just doesn't save Zoro in time. Apan's able to get the trade, but FD God has found two. They're still trying to stay alive and in this RBQ, but there's so many angles that Central Apan's being attacked by, and not enough to be covered by that shield. Kale is going to be forced back. Zodiel's going to send them all the way back to spawn, and Rav is just going to be marking now.
Yeah, it's a nice idea from Cal. He's gone early, he's hit the chain, but none of his team are there to follow up on it, and it just means that he's caught by himself, which we've seen happen quite a few times now, and it just means that at the start of the fight, VanirQuick are already down one.
Up to 70%, which is going to be difficult getting back into this. 4 rolls up on the other side, almost 5 now as Zodiel tries to build towards that spree, but Willis has gone in early, goes down, no, not quite. Willis is able to get the kill with that rush through onto Zoro. Rest of the team now just having to stabilize, so you can see 2 ults expended for Team Peps, but apart from the Kitsune rush, that pulse bomb should come back quickly, and they're able to sweep up once again. Zoro investing that spree as well. Unfortunately not able to get the job done.
Yeah, it just gets bursted. There's a rush. I think there's a pulse bomb going off somewhere in there. There's a Malga charge. There's just so many things that mean Zoro can't just burst through everyone like like say Zodiel did at the end of first point.
Speaking of, Zodiel does have that back online with the cage here to invest as well for Willis, looking to get in here and cage Apan immediately. There's nowhere to turn for Apan, trying to stay alive, but with the help of Tomek, somehow they found it through. Unfortunately, though, it's not enough for this VanirQuick team, as now it flips into the favor. They're just going to dive off the map quickly, try and get a quick reset in. You can see that Elias is 5 miles away on the other side of the objective, but that's just what you got to do at the moment.
Yeah, that's a really nice cage. He's caught everyone early. He's brought the fight to VanirQuick. It's really easy to just sit back on point, but he's gone early. He's gone fast. He's caught the Sigma, and I can't remember who else he caught. I think the Kiriko, and it just means there's no contest. There's no real fight. No one can walk in, and there's 2 easy picks.
Ray and Pulse on deck, and it's going to be a 4v5 to try and storm back onto the objective. You do have this Flux, which has found something, and this Kankai Sanctuary as well. It's trying to do as much as it possibly can, but Kale's gone down once again. Just the pressure from Willis has been too much for this Mitsuki. Tomek's over on the top of the objective, not going to drop down. Don't think it would have done too much anyway in the grand scheme of things. 10 deaths for Kale, and you've got to be asking how much can you do on this Mitsuki to really mitigate the pressure that's been put up by this aggressive playstyle from Team Peps?
Yeah, that was our first sanctuary right there at the end, the first one all series, and it was just a bit too little, too late. At this point, you've got to be questioning: is Mizuki the right choice for us right now? Because 3 and 10 after 2 points is not what you're looking for in a game against such a strong side.
And it's not only that, it felt like Kale was the first picked pretty much every single fight that VanirQuick were losing. It was Willis getting in early on that Malga with the overrun, running into that backline. And the Mitsuki, you've got options to try and deal with that. You know, you can chain as soon as that overrun has ended, obviously unstoppable until the time that he comes out of it. But once that's happened, you can chain him down. You can use that paper doll to get back round the corner and make sure that you stay alive. Obviously, it's a lot of investment into that. And then you have the likes of Zodiel on that Shion, who looks really comfortable, in my opinion. I think both Shion's looked fairly comfortable, considering how long Shion has been out, to be able to look that proficient in getting in. And you could see that maybe just Apan has been doing a lot on the Sigma. It feels like the rest of the team hasn't quite been there to stabilize around it. You saw Tomix going into that cage in that fight that Willis decided to invest it, but it doesn't seem like it's quite clicking for VQ at the moment.
Yeah, I think the core of this composition works around the Mizuki. The Mizuki can keep everyone alive in that long comp where Sig can kind of just really thrive. Because Sig, I feel, works best in a long fight. He can prolong the thing. He's got his rock. He's got his shield. He just puts out so much damage. So Peps have done a really good job of identifying that, because what you were seeing is Shion and Tracer working as a pair. They were coming around from a corner, sending that bike in, sending a blink in, firing and execute. That's just so much damage on top of a Malga charge that just means you can't really do much as the Mizuki. You just kind of get bursted. And of course, you've only got one chain, and that's 3 threats you have to deal with.
Yeah, and it just turns into a battle of attrition at that point. You're 5v4 off the rip, and there's not really too many ways that you get back into that. We saw Apan have sprees of being able to get those 3 kills in that first fight as well. Being able to get 3 kills despite being pretty much the only one that was left. Elias was coming back to try and help, but wasn't able to get back there in time. And you can see how much the SIG is able to do if the rest of the team is able to rally around it. But when you're starting out 5v4, you just have to be questioning some things. And now with Jetpack Cat back on the table as well, you could see that switch up in composition unless the Bastion is taken away.
Which
You really
Ooh,
just have
sorry.
to question that.
Yeah, I think things I'm expecting a Bastion ban. I think it's important to note VanirQuick were the team who banned the cat, so they clearly think that mirror is not ideal for them. Whereas Peps banning the Cassidy, you could make that argument that they actually believe in that cat comp, and Cass can be quite strong in taking that cat out of the sky, as well as a Fly Noon. So yeah, I think we should expect a Bastion ban, and that puts even more power in Pep's hands.
Yeah, absolutely. And the burst damage into the Mauga as well, don't forget, once that engage has happened. Numbani going in early. You can see that Bastion ban immediately coming out from VQ, and I'm surprised that Team Peps has decided to ban out this Mitsuki, given how it felt like it was really a hindrance to VanirQuick rather than being something that they could hold a strength to, as it just looked like there wasn't any comfortability as we see little bug on Numbani. We head in. Zora already on that Cass with Elias on the Farah as well. It's going to be VanirQuick trying to attack this objective first. Kale switching over onto that Brigitte. And on the other side, pretty much as standard from what we saw last time, apart from FD God being on the Lucio this time instead of the Juno.
Yeah, I'm not sure I see what the Mizuki ban provides. Of course, I'm sure it does provide something. These players are at the top of their game. I just don't see it myself. There's an argument to be made that if there's that kind of Cassidy, it's really good at shutting down that Fly Noon. But they're not running that.
Yeah, well, you can see early, Apan gaining the space towards the high ground, and Elias on this sim is actually doing a lot of damage as well, but they've left Apan out to dry on that high ground, no one else supporting, and now Willis trying to get back away. Is going to go down low, but the rest of the team has been found, and Zodiel's going to clean up once again. It's not quite a team kill as Apan died so quickly, but all 5 sent back to spawn.
Yeah, if you can get Apan to set himself up on that high ground, it's gonna be really successful for VanirQuick to kind of take that space, hold that space, and make his way into point. But the Mauga charge and the Reaper damage, and Shion coming off on the corner and throwing a bike in, hitting multiple people, it's just too much damage to kind of hold any space.
VQ going from main here, trying to get in with that TP onto the opposite high ground. Now it's going to be Apan dropping, putting pressure onto this checkpoint, trying to force at least something out here, and it's slowly ticking up, but Rav's going to say no to that. Here comes that kinetic grasp, and it's just so much damage in onto the tank. Yes, you get one onto Rav, but Apan's clearly the bigger target to be taken down. Now Willis can just get in here, TP away, but that's left Zoro high and dry. Now Elias trying to get back over to the other side, has been able to build a fair amount of charge, but then you see Kale going down, and once again, it's one by one, a slow death for VQ. As they are building towards some of these ults, but getting more and more difficult to attain anything on the objective here.
Yeah, it's just that gap between the two high grounds is just a bit too long to kind of park up and poke from. You can't really quite get enough from it. We are seeing a swap here to Cassidy, which could be an interesting change and might be able to open this point up.
I mean, you have the opportunity to go for the Fly Noon here. Zoro does have it charged, and you can see that is what they are trying to do, but it doesn't find a kill. You try and punish onto Zodiel, and they're able to do so. The accretion lands from Apan, but now this Gravitic Flux has to hit something here. Kale going down early to Rav, and the Flux has missed. They're all in this room, and it's a perfect beat from FD God, able to keep the rest of the team alive and even take down Zoro in the process. Willis does fall here to Elias. Now this Kitsune Rush is on the objective. It's going to be difficult to deal with, but Zodiel with the spree, going on a spree and taking down 2. A third for Zodiel, taking over, and with all of that investment of the ults, it stands no better for VQ, as not a single tick is found, and now less than a minute is on the clock.
Yeah, you'd expect no less from FD God there. That's really a perfectly timed beat. Just when that fight kind of looked a bit shaky, he hits all 4, even though they're so separated, keeps them all alive long enough to buy Zodiel so much space. And that spree, everyone's in that small room. He's going to kill them all. And he did.
No ultimates coming in here, and they're fighting into a cage fight now. Zoro down low, has to escape on the motorbike, but it's Kale that falls first on the jetpack cat. Rab is traded out by Elias, and FD God does fall as well. Apan's been able to knock Zerion into the void. Zodiel able to get that trade in. Willis now up onto the high ground, trying to rain down fire onto Elias's Reaper, but they're able to do some damage here, and they're able to get in onto the objective. Now they've forced them into this small room. You have to be careful, but Zerion coming back with a vengeance, able to take down with the headshot, finding a second as well onto the opposing number. The overtime wick burns down. It's absolutely nothing gained for VanirQuick. Team Peps just need that singular tick on the objective, and so close yet so far with that ultimate turn. VanirQuick just being shut down by Zodiel once more.
Yeah, VanirQuick tried to change things up. That cat swap into the Fly Noon was a promising idea. Oh, thank you, casters. Observers
Yeah.
even. We're the casters. Thank you for the 6-7. But yeah, you're kind of, you saw that Fly Noon and you're like, yeah, this is a good idea. It kind of buys so much space for Apan to kind of set himself up. But then immediately after, we see the swap back onto Shion. And now what you've got to ask, what is the cat doing? Because there's no Cass to kind of cart around and fly around in the high ground. Bastion's banned, and Shion likes to get involved and take those off angles and doesn't want to be flying around in the sky. Motorbikes don't fly. So, yeah, I feel like at that point, the cat gimmick kind of worked. That swap was kind of a good like adaptation. But I think you need to go back to what you were on before, and you might be able to get a bit more value out of it.
It just seemed unfortunate. Kale's not been able to find any real sort of comfort. You saw that switch onto the Brigitte and then back over onto that jetpack cat. And this is something that we've seen a couple of times to deal with that Bastion cat, is flying the Malga up into the air. The bigger health pool is able to take it down. Apan's going to have the hold of his life here on this objective, and it's going to be so difficult to hold for this 4 minutes, but it's been done on the other side, so why not now for VanirQuick? Zoro getting an early kill onto FD God. Tomix is traded, so it's going to be a little while until that Kiriko comes back, but the numbers are in favor of VQ here, taking down Willis as well. It's a good start, but they need to have it as they mean to go on.
I really like the Wu Yang pick here. I think that wave can buy so much space for his team, can kind of care them in a more consistent way, and I feel like you can put so much pressure onto the cat as well as the Shion as Wu Yang, which I just don't think we were getting the value on by playing cat itself or the Mizuki in last map.
Yeah, the switch over to the D.Va is going to be oppressive, though, and without a Mizuki on the other side, you got no chain for those burst engages. Kale trying to find Rab in the backline, but it's Rab who gets the opposing number. Zoro able to trade out, so 4v4 here, as you can see Elias is trying to survive, but Zoro's going off in the backline, finding FD God as well, and now this means that Willis is out in the open with no mech. This should be another hold for VQ, as now we're down to 2.5 minutes. It's slowly looking more achievable.
Yeah, that's a really bad trade. You can't let the baby D.Va get that trade on your Kiriko. It just slows you so much down. If Kiriko isn't it, if Kiriko wasn't Kiriko, you'd be down 1 at the start of this fight, and this D.Va Tracer would be going in on you so fast.
Yeah, and you can see how Apan's just having to back away from the angle here. Accretion goes in, goes wide. And now you can see the dive in from Willis. Can you find something with this Gravitic Flux? It's not really been able to find too much so far in this matchup. You can't Zodiel, able to get one here. Now here comes the spree from Zoro. It's done enough to take out the mech. And really, you just leave this baby D.Va here to fight for a life and try and get back into that mech. There's a couple more ultimates coming online for VQ. Kale switching back over to the jetpack cat, and I'm not sure I love this with a Kitsune and a pulse bomb on the opposing side.
Yeah, I think the main issue here is we have not yet seen, I think, VanirQuick win a fight convincingly. Of course, on attack, that is such more of a detriment than on defense. On defense, they kind of have to reset, but on attack, it's part of the reason they couldn't get any tick. It's now up to whose rush is better, I believe.
Yeah, you can see the heal deficit here, and it's a little bit of a later rush, but Elias has fallen down in the meantime, and that means that the Blossom is not going to be there to try and hold on this objective. Full V5 now, looking for a trade. Pulse Bomb goes wide, and you can see this team just rallying around that high ground, trying to make use of that Kitsune rush. FD God goes down, and Tomek's able to find a crucial trade just before going down. Neither side has a Kiriko here for this fight, but Willis has taken over. It's going to have to be Apan and Elias against the world. They've been able to take down the mech, but they're both so low, and the baby Diva's doing everything. Willis has been able to stay alive. The spree is there now. Tomek's trying to come back in on the Lucio, but it's too late. They gave themselves a monumental task, and they held for most of it, but it wasn't quite enough to see it through to the end. Team Peps taking a 2-0 lead after both teams look quite toothless on their attacking sides.
Yeah, holding for 3.5 minutes is nothing to complain about. It's a lot more promising than their attack certainly was. It's just that, you know, when you're forced on that high ground and you can't really move anywhere, those swaps and adaptations from Peps this time are really going to slowly come through and find these gaps. I think maybe that rush from Tomex was just a bit too late. Of course, when you're defending, it's hard to go first because they could just kite it. But I feel like he needed to there. Otherwise, they just get burst healed through all their issues.
Yeah, it's a shame, but I mean, you've been in these spots before if you're VanirQuick. Having been in the spot previously this tournament as well, going down 3-0, unfortunately, in that game. But Team Peps is a hard opponent to crack. And you look at that defensive side, it looked like the immovable object was starting to be there. And we saw that as well slightly on Oasis when they were able to get a hold of the objective. I believe we have our third map in, and VQ, you just got to do what you can to start getting somewhere here. It's a mountain to climb, but it requires the first footsteps, and that's the only thing that's in your control now. That map ban and that first hero ban is going to be the only ones that you get for the rest of this series. You've got to use it wisely to at least try and get a map here off of Team Peps.
Yeah, the real risk here, of course, is that Bastion's open and Cat is open. And what you've been telling Peps this whole game is you are scared of their Cat and their Bastion. Most importantly, when they're together, of course. But yeah, you have now got to be really careful in your map choice. You need to find a map that Cat Bastion is relatively the worst at. Of course, Cat Bastion works almost universally on every single map, but you need to try and find one that is as limiting as possible so that you aren't giving them the map just by already using those two bans.
Well, here we go. It is Suravasa as our third map there. Don't worry, we haven't played 4 just yet. But Suravasa is that third map, and we'll see how that goes for VQ as they try and build back into this matchup. It's not the best, not the worst map, but you look at what they had to choose from on Escort and Push as well. Both of those map types have a really big area, and that's so difficult to get away from a Jetpack Cat Bastion. You really got nowhere to hide in those situations. Does mean that the Jetpack Cat Bastion doesn't have quite as many rooftops to hide behind, but I mean, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, and you'd say that the Cat Bastion is really favored on pretty much all 3 of those escort maps and whatever push map comes up. And that's unfortunate looking forward, but like we said, you can't look forward right now. You've got to focus on Suravasa and try and do what you can with the advantage that you're giving yourself.
Yeah, I think when you compare it to the escort maps, they Suravasa is your best choice here. We're seeing Juno and Farah bans, both quite interesting based on the fact we've seen very little of either, really.
I mean, we've seen FD God on the Juno, and that maybe talks to they don't want that Juno coming back in again, given the amount of healing output that they had going into Willis's Malga. But I don't know, it's an interesting one. And the Pharah on the other side, I mean, Elias has threatened to play it, but it's not been there quite as much. Croc's coming in for Willis on the side of Team Peps, going over to this Reinhardt composition, which we've seen a lot to try and deal with this Mitsuki and the Sigma. But on the other side, they've read this pretty well, and it's going to be a Ramatra comp for VQ, which should put them in fairly good stead in this Brawl Mirror.
Yeah, getting this read right is huge. Because if Team Peps walk out on this Malga comp they've been showing the whole time, you're in quite a lot of trouble, really. Not that much trouble, relatively speaking, but it's not great for you. However, getting this read and being able to walk out on Ramatra is putting you in such a good position for this first fight.
I was playing ring around Rosie's on this high ground, taking a lot of damage, but no kills to be found on either side so far. Say that, Elias has just been taken out by Rav. On the May on the other side, a quick dodge from Zoro, but how long can you stay away from this Reinhardt, trying to do as much damage before falling as possible? But now this leaves VQ in a 3v5. Yes, Crocs has gone down low, but when you're not able to confirm the kill, the rest of the team has fallen. The point's already in Team Peps' favor, and this does not take long to build up to a quick lead here.
Yeah, that's a must-win fight for VanirQuick. When you've read what the enemy are going to run, and got that counter comp, you really need to be winning that. Especially given the fact that they capped point so early. That fight was going on, and point was just already in the way of Team Peps. We're only just starting our second fight, and they're already at 60%. This is qualified territory.
Speaking of percentages, look at the ults there for Team Peps as well. Zeron's already got a Kitsune Rush, Zodiel's 10 to a spree, Kitsune Rush invested, and they should know that it's not going to be there on the other side. Huge Fire Strike, and it allows the DPS to take over. They're finding everything here. Zoro watching the rest of the team fall, and nothing that you can do in that situation. Team kill bell rings out, and there's going to be no chance at getting back to this objective for VanirQuick. Team Peps looking solid on this Reinhardt.
And winning first point with just a K-Rush must feel great, because that K-Rush was so fast it wasn't contested. But if you got K-Rush that quickly, think of what other ults you've won the race to. You know you can go into this, and if you go fast enough, all the cards are in your hands.
But that Annihilation gets taken down immediately by the beat. They try and trap in Crocs, but Zoro's already fallen. Croc's trying to get someone into the drink there. Kitsune Rush knowing it's not going to be mirrored, but Zodiel is able to take down two with the spree early. Apan trying to hammer on with this with this ultimate in that Kitsune Rush, but it doesn't do enough. They've expended Kitsune Rush and Annihilation and got nothing for it.
Yeah, I think the day and age of K-Rush winning you every fight might be over. Maybe it's just this game, but using that beat spree, kind of like a beat blade, except now it hits everyone in a circle around you and does more damage to you each time. It's just so hard to play into.
Zoro's been picked off so early as well. They're fighting to make sure Apan isn't the next to fall. Trying to regroup here. Tomix is down so low, but has been able to survive on the Kiriko for now. Now you try and poke through, trying to get back in. Elias with the Blizzard in hand, but the Shatter's massive from Crocs, and it finds too early, and that should be the second objective in the hands of Team Peps as well. They're using this ult economy perfectly as they go and say hi to Kale at the spawn doors. The only one left to tell the tale, but has to retreat immediately.
Yeah, that's a huge shatter. I mean, there's not much more you can say about it than that.
Oh,
I mean,
Elias
and
goes
that's
down
an
so
enormous
early.
pick as well.
You can't let this happen. It feels like it's just something that's not there for VQ. They just look lost. They look mentally boomed at the moment, and I mean, it's difficult to not be mentally boomed when you're down 2-0 in a series already, but considering the early pick onto Elias, and then you look at that spree from Zoro just to try and turn the fight in your favor. 2-0 now on Suravasa. Team Pep still looking dominant, and look at the ults that they've almost got back again.
Yeah, we've almost seen, well, we're We're going to see another rush. We're going to see another spree. I mean, getting pinned out of your Shion ult is just the cherry on top here. You're in a very difficult situation if you're VanirQuick.
Trade here of Blizzards is... It's going to be a perfect Blizzard, actually, from Rav. Catches 2. Kale's been able to keep him alive with that beat, but it's there on the other side for FD God, and they don't need it. Exodia once again, the spree taking him down, and one with a motorbike as well. Atomic's the last to fall. Kitsune Rush, Blizzard expended by VanirQuick. Kale switching over to that jetpack cat again, trying to find some familiarity, but it's not there. And they're the ones going on to the Bastion cat.
Yeah. Maybe it was just a double bluff. Maybe they're going, oh, we're scared. And actually, we're about to see a Bastion masterclass.
You've been hiding it in the pocket for too long, though. Already 50% over on the other side. Zodiel getting out of there as well on that bike. Done a lot of damage to Apan, who does have this Annihilation to come into this fight. Just a Nemesis form early. Might just have to pop it to survive here. Down so low. Rest of the team trying to get through. Here comes the Annihilation, but it's FD God in turn with that sound barrier, and Brav's just able to burn down Apan. The rest of the team really with nothing else. Crocs has become an NPC on the objective as the rest of the team clear up. They don't need him with how much of a boom is there for VQ. You're trying to kill the NPC, but the player characters are making sure that that's not going to happen. Zoro the last one alive, and you have found a touch here on the Wrecking Ball for Apan, but realistically, how much can you do? Zoro trying to use that artillery form to find something, but it doesn't get anything there. Kitsune Rush for good matter on the objective. The stall characters are out in force. Tomix here on this Lucio. Blizzard in now. It's stopping everything from happening. Zoro just trying to have some fun here in the spawn as Team Peps making sure to be stood up and counted. They want to get back into that stage 3 as much as any other team here, and they are showing it today. Absolute domination from start to finish.
Yeah, if I was 1, 2, 3, 4 or Tennessee, I'd be slightly worried. This looks like a different side of Peps that we didn't get to see last season. They're hungry. They want this. And they know they deserve this spot in OWCS. So they're taking no prisoners, and they're proving why it should be them who are playing in OWCS.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got to say Exodia looks so at home on that shield. At least did today. And I mean, it just wasn't quite able to be matched by Zoro on the other side. Yes, there were flickers of hope for VanirQuick, but really nothing to be found in that final map of Suravasa. It felt like everything was going Team Peps' way. Everything from the ult economy to initial picks that were being found when just rotating to try and get into a good spot to attack the objective. It wasn't as if they were letting VanirQuick stage initially and then taking them down as they approached the objective. They were going out, they were hungry, they wanted those kills early, and they were getting them every single time they tried for it. It just felt like there was nothing that VanirQuick could do that Team Peps couldn't handle.
Yeah, of course. Why on earth would you ever let the other team set up? I mean, Peps, but that's a lot easier said than done. It's so easy to say, oh, just catch them early, but it's not necessarily easy to do that. And especially with some of the comps that VanirQuick were running, they're ready to go straight away. They don't need that kind of long setup and rotate and finding the best position to kind of park up. But Peps today was so on the ball with understanding when they had to go and the best way to go in order to catch VanirQuick unprepared and not ready for whatever they were going to throw at them.
Yeah, well, that is going to be the end of our stream for today. VanirQuick obviously going to be back next week. And just let me have a quick check of what those games are going to be played. Elements Sunrise, I believe, on Monday coming up. And Team Redline up for next week as well. As well as Wasp. So a busy week next week for VanirQuick as they look to get or stay above that 500 records. 3-2 now on the season with a forfeit from Here for Views and a 3-0 win in the 2 other matches. So they're winning the games that they really should be. They're losing the games that, you're coming in and you're not quite as favored on. Good guys and Team Peps look really up for it this stage. The rest of the tournament could be a little bit more tricky as you're going to get into these closer matchups, but at least you're taking what you're being given so far for VQ, and that's what you want to do, and that's what you have to do to make it through to the playoffs and buy yourself a ticket to at least try and get into that promotion relegation matchup.
Yeah, there's an argument to be made that they've played two really strong teams to start with. And, well, there's no argument. That is what's happened. But you could say that it's better that this has happened because that's so much to learn from getting ready for those games that are 50-50s that could go either way. If you've already played the best available and been able to learn from that and fix mistakes from that, it should put you that one step ahead against those teams that at the start of the season it would go the distance. It might not anymore. You might have been able to pick up things that just, turn things slightly in your favor.
Yeah, and you're still in the early stages of this meta as well. Realistically, we're in the third week of the season, so there's still time. There's still absolutely time to get back on the board and maybe cook up some ways to take down the likes of Team Peps and Good Guys. But for now, we're just going to give a quick shout out to our production stuff. We had a fair few today, so thank you so much to our producer, Joe Too Cool. Obviously, you've had me and Crab on the cast, our observers, Bert, Jay, and Lagalef. Special thanks to VanirQuick, obviously, for hosting this. And a special thanks as well to Respawn.io for providing us the graphics that have been allowing us to bring you the stream today. But for now, we're going to say goodbye and see you next week as VanirQuick looks ahead into another week of Season 9 EMEA Masters for Face It. It's goodbye from us for now. We'll see you next week.